Welcome everyone, this is Yasser Wasifi from Learn Dental series. This episode we will start our discussion of the topics of the dental practice management course, starting with introduction. First of all, I would like to declare that I have no financial disclosure or conflicts of interest with any of the presented materials. This presentation is copyright protected and could not be transmitted by any means unless you get a prior permission from the author. By the end of this presentation, you are expected to be motivated to change your attitude, to be more result oriented with a long term view to practice dentistry successfully. Also, you are expected to be able to compare different dentistry career options and select one which is most suitable for you to provide the successful life you wish to have. Finally, you are expected to be able to define and recognize the importance of practice management intensity. Let us start with our introduction. Before we are starting our discussion, I would like to ask you a question and please make your mind to think carefully before you reply to my question. What is the only constant in life? Just I would like you to think for a while and select just one thing which is constant in life. When you imagine the answer, you will not find anything constant in life unless the change itself. It is the only constant. Life is constantly changing around us because each day is a different set of conditions and circumstances and a different experience for each of us. However, our daily routine from the time we woke up until the time we lay down create a cycle of comfort that leads us to comfort and routine habits. Such comfort creates neglect in our character that makes us forget that life is constantly changing. Then, when we realize that change has occurred, we stress out, react, procrastinate, and complain. That's why most of us, even it is hard to admit in school or at home and in the community we live, we were taught to believe in following the rules without changing it, and a set of standards that should be followed also, and that being curious and creating change is not standard operating procedures, that being obedient, doing what we are told and what is right. This is the key to success and happiness in life. That's why always creative people are always thinking out of the routine. They are not obedient to the standards. They are trying to break down these standards in order to ease the life of other people. That's not in terms means that they are following unethical rules. They are not in a state of compliance to the rule. No, they are complying the rules, they are complying the ethics, but they didn't like the taboos, they didn't like the standards. Okay, that's why they need to create their own modified standards to make their life easy. That's why comes the creative ideas, and that's why most of the creative ideas and innovations are firstly rejected by the community because they shock the community that they are broken down the routine standards. All population are accustomed to live in the circumstance of these standards. The attitude of resistance to change is a limiting belief that will create a slow death to your practice. If you refuse to change, your practice will go into death. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, 20 years ago, static density was only limited to class 3, class 5, and class 4 composite resins, but no one could imagine that composite resin will be modified to that extent to be applied to posterior as well as anterior teeth. And its importance is not only for the color or the shade of the natural tooth appearance, but also for the bonding procedures that saves and conserve much more tooth structure. That's why all the dentists who didn't realize or who start to resist this change for a cause or another, because their routine treatments or routine daily treatment, they thought it is successful, and they thought that patients will not require such treatments, okay, and will still asking for a good amalgam restoration. They are now, okay, actually unknown, and they are suffering to find new patients and the new generations of the patients, okay, to deal with them or to treat them. But who realize this change, okay, and asking for continuous education, workshops, reading papers, now they are changing with the community needs. But our coping mechanism to the change is different from one to another. Most of us will postpone this decision, okay, due to analysis. And this is, he is analyzing the situation, analyzing the situation. This is a mean of procrastination, okay, that delayed your decision, okay, and delayed decision is also like no decision. This is called paralysis through analysis. Upon experiencing change, our initial reaction is to resist. Why? Because we are afraid to lose our comfort, okay, and normalcy of what we currently have, or we have afraid of unknown. That's why the word fear could be translated by two meanings, and you have the choice to select what is suitable for you. Either you could translate it as fear, forget everything and run, okay? This is, which is a positive, a negative thought, that you will forget everything and will not face anything, you will not accept any change and run to your comfort zone. Whereas another translation, which is considered as highly positive one, face everything and rise. And the choice is yours. That's why Donald Walsh stated that life begins at the end of your comfort zone. What is this comfort zone? Okay, as a human being, all of us are seeking for comfort, which is always why it is so hard to let this zone, comfort zone, where you feel safe and in control. Your practice is running well, profitable, with the least risk factors, okay, dealing with your patients in routine default treatments. Your patients up till now didn't demand for any advanced treatment, but life changes. Now your patient could Google anything and could ask you for any new treatments. Okay, you have many platforms, you have many channels. They could Google everything, and they could imagine and educate themselves about different treatments which you couldn't afford for them, including YouTube videos, including even multiple broadcastings that market for more advanced treatments. At least you should have an answer about this. I don't ask you to be an implantologist, but at least you should have an idea about implantology to advise your patient about it and to refer it for the specialist in such a field. Okay? And at this time, you are gaining a much more respect of your patient rather than you deny any knowledge about this field. That's what's called comfort zone, where you feel safe and in control. When you are trying to grow in your business or to grow in your life, that means that you should get out and break the jail of this comfort zone. You will be faced by the next zone, which is called fear zone. At fear zone, you will find excuses to deny this change and go back for your comfort zone. Why? Because you may be affected by others' opinions who made you much more in a much more fear, state, or you are lacking self-confidence. Then what you need is just to pass quickly this fear zone to go for the learning zone. Learning zone means that you will gain new skills and experiences. What you hope? What's your plan in the coming 5 years? I'm planning that I will have a polyclinic, advanced polydental clinic. Then, what the skills and experience I need? I need skills and experience in management. I need skills and experiences in much more advanced treatments. And if I could perform these treatments by myself, or I could ask to hire specialists in different branches. This is what is called skills and experience. Then you are dealing at this learning zone with new challenges and the problem. You are expanding your comfort zone because you are taught, or you get much more skills that provides you with the comfort you need. This will lead to automatically to the growth zone, where you achieve your objectives and you could set a new goals. Because you are finding your purpose, making your dreams a reality, and you have a self-confidence belief. And if you note, this new cycle will become your new comfort zone that you could go further to break it for further growth, and your life will not stop at this point. That's why if you would like to achieve success, you should break this wall of this jail of your comfort zone. If you break down this wall, you will go to success. But comfort zone always is in a different opposite direction than success. That's why you should know how to break out of your comfort zone, and accordingly you could achieve success. Patrick Spencer Johnson, who is an American physician, I think he's a pediatric one, and at the same time an author for Value Tales series of children books. In 1998, he published a motivational business fable, which describes how life changes, and is considered as one of the best-seller motivational textbook worldwide, which is titled "Who Moved My Cheese?" In his book, there were 4 characters: 2 mice named Sniff, Scary, and 2 little people named Him and Ha. Sniff, who sniffs out and change early; Scary, who scares to action; Him, who denies to change, as he fears it will lead to something worse; Ha, who's something analytical, who learns to adapt in time when he sees changing can lead to something better. The 4 characters live in a maze. This maze represents your practice and the town or city where your practice are located in. And their daily activity, is to look for cheese, which represents your practice, profitability, new patients, systems, and staff. Each morning, Sniff, Scary, Him, and Ha wear their most comfortable shoes to run and search the maze to find cheese. That means that there was a time when all of us did whatever it takes to succeed. They wear or search for their most comfortable shoes, because it helped them to go for success. They searched each day until they found Cheez It Station, and they named as C Station. The 4 of them were so happy and glad to have found Station C, which is filled with high quality cheese. Him and Ha, human as they were, became comfortable having found Station C, and thought that the cheese in Station C was more than enough to sustain their need in a lifetime. And this is a big mistake of each of us because, as we mentioned, the only constant is change, and things changes in life. Him and her eventually move their homes to be closer to the station C and build a social life around it. They don't like to exert much more effort. Okay, they would like to be near to their bracts or near to their station, near to their source of life. Okay, and in a comfortable way. Then they close much more their comfortable zone to make themselves more feel more at home. Hemenda decorated the walls with saying one read, having cheese makes you happy. This is their life target, that is their life concept, and they now close the loop much more closer of comfort zone around their neck. Hemenda starting to lazily get up every morning and walk to station C without their running shoes. That means that they start to stop doing what it takes to succeed. Okay? They start to be lazy, start to be confident, start to guarantee that this cheese will not ever finish and will not ever even change. Okay? On the other hand, the two mice, Sniff and Scary, still eagerly run to Station C to search and find their cheese. Then one morning, as him and her lazily walk shoeless to Station C, they arrive and find it is empty. Okay? And they become furious and angry. Unprepared, the human have counted on the cheese supply to be constant. They ran at the unfairness of the situation, and this is what always humans do, or negative persons are done easily. They blame others before they blame themselves. Okay, and they were angry at those who stole their cheese. This is the point of entitlement. In the most of all dentists, they blame others. They think that other practices stole their patients. Okay, then him and Daha wanted justice and wanted justice to come back. But they went home hungry, but not hungry enough to change. Still, they feel a full stomach that will not eager them to find another solution to their problem. On the other hand, when Sniff and Scary found the station C was empty, they were not surprised, as they noticed daily that cheese supply was decreasing. Then they having a follow-up for the market, they having a vision of the market, daily analysis and daily assessment of the indicators of their market. Okay, they had mentally prepared beforehand for the tough but foreseeable task of finding new genes. They easily accepted it and didn't waste any time to blame others and moved on to search for new cheese. The next day, him and Da still walked to Station C, hoping to find their cheese. They were still hoping that things were the same as in the past, that cheese was still gone and was not coming back. Surely will not coming back because they didn't change. Ha, beginning to realize that the cheeseless situation was not going away, proposed to search for new cheese. He's now starting to accept the change, starting to analyze the condition. But him was dead set in his closed mindset and rejected the proposal. Meanwhile, Sniff and Scary have found cheese station in a new supply of cheese. Him and the How still have no cheese and blame everything but their aversion to change. They didn't blame themselves. They didn't blame that they didn't assign indicators for the cheese to be finished or to be changed. Okay, whatever. Okay, they didn't assess it. Okay, because they thought that everything is constant and having cheese is everything in life, and those amount of cheese is quite enough to satisfy them lifetime and supply them lifetime. Wanting to change, Ha once again suggested searching for new cheese, but Hem rejected it again. This is what is called, a paralysis by analysis, because still Hem analyzing the condition and still blaming each other and still thought that there is someone moved his cheese. He didn't want to change. He was already comfortable with his old cheese and he was afraid of the unknown, which is the new cheese, which is the new situation and new condition. He just wants the old cheese to come back and he will be happy again. After many days in denial, him and How remained without cheese, and now they start to be hungry. That will force them to do any change. Once a day, having discovered his weakening fear, Ha began to laugh at the situation and stopped taking himself so seriously. He realized that he should simply move on and enter the maze to find a new cheese. While walking down the maze in search for new cheese, Ha took time to write on the wall the experiences and lessons he learned in his search for change and new cheese. Ha did this to create a guide for his friend just in case he finally agrees to move on and find the new cheese. First he wrote, "If you don't change, you can be extinct." Still fearful of his new quest, Ha wrote, "What would you do if you weren't afraid? What happens if you weren't afraid? And what happens if you're afraid?" In his journey, he realized and wrote down, when you move beyond your fear, you feel free. You get your freedom when you move behind or beyond your fear, and you easily could exceed and deny this fear. Then one day, Ha finally found cheese station and realized it was better and tastier than cheese station C. Let me show you this video.
That cheese, where is it? Move that cheese, why is it gone?
So sniff it out, let's find it. It's something better and scurry along.
Go get me some of that new cheese. Go get something that. Well, move that cheese, where is it? Move that cheese, why is it gone?
Gonna get you.
Move that cheese, where is it? Who moved that cheese, why is it gone?
Once long ago, in a land far away, there were 4 little characters that lived in a maze.
2 were mice named Sniff and Scurry.
And 2 were little people, the size of mice. Their names were Hem and Ha.
As different as the mice and little people were, they shared one thing in common. Each morning, they put on their running shoes and raced into the maze to look for their favorite cheese. Cheese being whatever was most important to them, what nourished them and made them happy.
For Sniff and Scurry, cheese was just cheese. But for Hem and Ha, cheese was more than just having something to eat. Finding it was a way of getting what they thought they needed. To them, cheese represented having security, or good health, or material things, or whatever they believed would make them happy.
For Ha, cheese meant living in a beautiful cottage with a loving family on Cheddar Lane.
To Hem, cheese meant being a big cheese, owning a mansion atop Camembert Hill. Sniff and Scurry had good instincts. Sniff would smell out the general direction of the cheese, and Scurry would race ahead.
But Hem and Ha had complex brains with beliefs and emotions that made finding their way in the maze more complicated and challenging. Rather than trusting their instincts, they relied on guidebooks and maps to help find their way in the maze.
In their own way, all 4 characters discovered what they were looking for. Eventually, each one arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered their own special cheese.
Sniff and Scurry woke early every day and ran the same route through the maze to Cheese Station C.
However, Hem and Haw woke later each day and strolled slowly over to Cheese Station C. After all, they knew where the cheese was and how to get there, and they assumed it would always be there.
This is fabulous. I'm so happy. There's enough cheese here to last us forever.
Hem and Haw put away their running shoes, thinking they wouldn't need them anymore.
They felt very secure in their familiar surroundings. Haw even decorated the walls with sayings.
Having cheese makes you happy.
Hem and Haw became very comfortable in Cheese Station C. They were not paying attention to what was happening around them.
Meanwhile, Sniff and Scurry inspected the area each morning. They noticed the changes that were taking place. They kept their running shoes around their necks so they could get to them quickly whenever they needed them again.
One morning, Sniff and Scurry arrived at Cheese Station C and discovered there was no cheese. They were not caught by surprise, since they noticed the supply of cheese had been getting older and smaller. The mice did not overanalyze or complicate things. The situation had changed, so Sniff and Scurry changed. They were soon off in search of new cheese.
Later that day, Hem and Haw arrive and are startled at the sight of an empty Cheese Station C.
What? No cheese? Who moved my cheese? It's not fair.
What'll happen if the cheese isn't here tomorrow? All my plans are based on the cheese being here.
Hem's and Haw's behavior was not very attractive and kept them from succeeding, but it was understandable. Finding cheese wasn't easy, and it meant a great deal more to them than just having enough of it to eat every day.
While Sniff and Scurry had changed, Hem and Haw continued to, well, hem and haw.
Hem? Where's Sniff and Scurry? Do you think they know something we don't?
Nah, they're just simple mice. We're little people. We're more complex and smarter. We're entitled to our cheese.
We don't seem to be acting smarter at the moment. Sniff and Scurry are probably in the maze looking for new cheese. Maybe we should simply get going and look for some new cheese too.
No, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I want things to be just the way they were.
Meanwhile, Sniff and Scurry moved further into the maze. They didn't think of anything else but finding new cheese.
After looking in parts of the maze where they had never been before, Sniff and Scurry found the biggest store of cheese they had ever seen.
Meanwhile, Hem and Haw were still trying to figure out what was happening.
Then Haw began to imagine himself out in the maze, finding fresh new cheese. Before long, he could almost taste it.
Come on, Hem, let's go. We've got to change and enjoy something better.
No way. It might be dangerous out there in the maze. I like it here. I'm comfortable. You'll see. Someday things will be just the way they were.
Like Hem, Haw focused on what he was losing. His vision of finding new cheese and gaining something better faded.
So every day, Hem and Haw went from their homes to Cheeseless Station C and returned home again with empty bellies, full of nothing but stress. They tried to deny the change that had happened, but found it more and more difficult. Their homes were not the nurturing places they once were.
You know, if we just try harder, maybe we'll discover the cheese is still here.
So Hem and Haw worked longer hours, but still they did not find their cheese. Haw was beginning to realize how hard they were working without success.
Then Haw lived up to his name.
Look at us!
What are you laughing at? They moved our cheese and you think this is funny?
Oh, Hem, we keep doing the same things over and over again, and we wonder why things don't get better. Now that's funny!
Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese?
Hem, it's time for us to find something better.
You're not really going out into the maze again, are you? Why don't we just wait here until they put the cheese back?
They're never going to put the cheese back. That was yesterday's cheese. It's time for us to find some new cheese. Now, where did we put our running shoes?
What if there's no cheese out there? Or what if you can't find it? Or
Well, I don't know, Hem. But imagine how much we would enjoy some new cheese.
No, I don't want to go into the maze.
Well, I don't either. But let's face it, if we don't change, we could become extinct.
Extinct? Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese?
Then Ha wrote on the wall what he had been thinking about for some time.
What would you do if you weren't afraid? It's maze time. Time for new cheese.
Then Ha jogged into the unknown. He soon realized the unexpected can happen.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Ha picked himself up and got back on course.
Being back in the maze isn't nearly as bad as I feared. How did I get into that situation at Cheese Station C? I should have followed my instincts and changed a lot sooner. If I'd been watching what was happening, smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Why do I feel so good? I don't have any cheese, and I don't know where it is. When you stop being afraid, you feel good.
I feel so good, so very good.
I'm not afraid anymore.
The more clearly Ha imagined himself finding new cheese and enjoying it, the more real it became, in his mind and his heart, and the more it made good sense to him.
Imagining myself enjoying my new cheese even before I find it leads me to it.
Finally, Ha arrived at large Cheese Station E, but he found it was practically empty.
No matter how hard I try, I guess I'm just too late. If only I had changed sooner, I'd have found a lot of new cheese here.
Ha did find several delicious morsels of cheese. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep him going.
I've got to go back to him and let him know there's some new cheese out here.
Ha followed his handwriting on the wall, back to Cheese Station C.
Oh, Ham, you look terrible. Here, have a few bits of new cheese I found in the maze.
No, I don't think I would like new cheese. I want my own cheese back. I want things to be the way they were.
It's safer to search in the maze, Ham, and remain in a cheeseless situation.
Ha now knew that his friend Ham's negative thoughts robbed him of his confidence. Ha remembered how good he felt when he was away from such thinking while searching for new cheese in the maze.
Will he ever change? I guess Hem believes he can't or won't enjoy new cheese.
Ha had changed his own beliefs. He knew that change wasn't always good or necessary. Ha used to believe that his cheese should never be moved and that sudden change wasn't right. Now he realized that most change shouldn't happen all of a sudden and that it could lead to something better. He now knew it was good to go into the maze to find new cheese.
When you change what you believe, you change what you do.
Ha found bits of cheese here and there. He hoped that Hem might see the need for change and find his way through the maze by reading the handwriting on the wall and follow the markings Ha left for him. He kept hoping his good friend would change.
Now Ha had let go of the past and was adapting to the present. He was pursuing his sensible vision, seeing himself finding new cheese. And then, one day it happened.
Piled high everywhere was the largest and most delicious-looking supply of new cheese Ha had ever imagined.
Wow! New cheese! Is it real or just my imagination? Hey, it is real! New cheese was out here all the time, just waiting for somebody to find it.
As Ha enjoyed his new cheese, he reflected on what he had learned from his journey through the maze. He wrote on the wall of Cheese Station N,
Change happens. They keep moving the cheese. Anticipate change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it's getting old. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. Enjoy change. Savor the adventure and enjoy the taste of new cheese. Be ready to quickly change and enjoy it again. They keep moving the cheese. Change and win. Move with the cheese. I wonder if Ham will ever read the handwriting on the wall. Will he ever change and win?
Ha knew it would be easy for him to slip back to his old ways if he got too comfortable. So each day he inspected Cheese Station N to check the condition of his cheese. He went out into the maze and explored new areas. He knew it was smarter to be aware of what was going on around him rather than to isolate himself in his comfort zone. Then Ha heard a sound of movement out in the maze. Could it be Hem? Ha hoped, as he had many times before, that his friend was finally able to
move to the new cheese and enjoy it. Or is it a new beginning?
Move that cheese, where is it? Move that cheese, why is it gone?
There is no end, there is always a new beginning. This is what finally told by Ha. Remember the 6 quotes he had written and he get from the lesson on a change. Number 1, change happens because they keep moving the cheese. Anticipate the change. Get ready for the cheese to move. Monitor change. Smell the cheese often so you know when it is getting old. You should have indicators. You should assign indicator and assess your cheese. Adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese or new change. Change, move with the cheese because it always changed and always moved. Enjoy the change, savor the adventure, and you enjoy the taste of new cheese. Then comes the question: which character are you? Are you Sniff, Scary, Him, and How? Let us analyze them. Okay, Sniff. The sniffs who anticipate change early by sniffing it out in the marketplace and have cooperate vision, okay, while Scaries who quickly scurry into action and adapts. He liked to get things done, so they acted based on the new corporate vision. Him who denies change and resists it and also would like to stay in his comfort jail, not comfort zone, okay, because of fear. He wanted to work in a place that was safe enough and where the change made sense to them, turning them into house, not he turned himself into house, okay? House who learned to adapt in time when they see something better. They were hesitant at first, but were open-minded enough to learn something new and adapt it. When we analyze them, we discovered that him are called, sorry, him are stabilizer, okay, focus in how and allow analysis, okay, this allows actually paralysis by analysis, while ha is a unifier, focus in who, allow processing. At the same time, scurry are producers, focus on what, allow autonomy. Sniff are innovator, focuses on why not and allow excitement. If you classify them into groups according to base, you will find that him and ha are slow base, while scurry and sniff are faster base. When you are discussing the orientation, him and ha are process oriented, while sniff and scurry are result oriented, which is much better. Okay, they achieved their goals in the time they would like to achieve it. Okay, responses, you will find that him and scurry are structured, okay, because they already didn't discuss what they will do, but they do it, okay, they obey the rules, okay. Him don't like to change, scurry changed according to other corporate vision, okay, while ha and sniff are unstructured because they need to be convinced by the idea before they do it. The view always also him and scurry are short viewed, while ha and sniff are long viewed. The question again, which character are you? It's sadly to mention that even if we sorry even if we don't admit it, we all act like him, okay, because we adapted to daily routine and we couldn't adapt, we don't always accept all the changes. When changes happens in our life, we get angry, we get blame others, and we lose hope and resist changes. Those are most of us. That's why creative people constitutes who are the opposite of him, okay, are constitutes a little percentage of population who would like to break the jail, to break the mode of comfort zone, and who don't like to follow and obey life routine standards. This textbook's one of the greatest ones in the field of dental practice management, which is the super general dental practice, said that, and asking a question to most of the dentists, are you a thermometer or a thermostat? 95% of dentists are thermometer because they only measure changes, but they didn't change. They seldom anticipate or create the environment that would let them be successful. The minority are thermostat because they are not only measuring the change, but also they constantly adjust themselves to this change. They control their circumstances and the climate they compete in. They create the condition, they create the circumstances, not obeying the default standard. Okay? Please remember the quote of Alfred Einstein, there is no stupidity. Stupidity is repeating the same experience, repeating the same experiment with the same condition and circumstances, and you expect to get different results. Unless you change these circumstances, you will not get any different results. Let me show you two market brand names in different activities, sales activity. The left one is for Kodak and the right one for Nokia. One for cameras and the other one is a communication company. Kodak refused the digital transformation of their camera, and now you don't have codec in the market of photography. While Nokia refused the Android operating system, and now our Android operating system is accepted by Samsung, okay, and many other companies which are now a competitive or constitutes a major competitive companies in the field of smartphone communication. Okay, this is similar to the left side is a stagnated water. Okay, firstly, we are happy with it because those stagnated water now, okay, is accumulation of water that we will it is maybe the source of a rainwater, okay, and when it is fresh, it seems to be useful, it seems to be helpful in many activities. But when it gets stagnated, you could note how much it is infected, how much it is contaminated, how much the people try to stoning this water, okay, and it will not move, while the running water to the right side is healthier, okay, changing, smelling good, okay, and you have all the right to select which one would you like to be. Would you like to be like stagnated water or like running water? The decision is yours. That's why start to change from now, even from now. Assign and design your plan to change. Assign to and design your plan to get continuous education, your plan to have a vision for the coming 5 years and the coming 10 years and even the coming 25 years in the market of dentistry. Finally, those are my references if you would like to get much more readings, okay, and please feel free to ask me, as your questions are welcome 24/7. You could ask me by commenting to this video and I will reply to you as soon as possible. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and also activate the notification to get all the new updates in the course of dental practice management. I would like finally to thank you for assigning this time to listen to me. Until we meet again, thank you, Yasser al-Wasifi.